nicely. It's the Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. The Drew and Fuse Show. Yeah, they clean up nicely. Yeah.
Hey, Daft Punks, what's up? Thanks for joining us today.
Shout out to all the punks.
Yeah, another celebration. Shout out to Liquid Death, still not sponsoring us. I got one brand new one to crack open here.
Another day without the LD sponsorship. My life might as well just be miserable. My life's terrible because Liquid Death does not sponsor us.
It's still fully stocked inside of my garage, so that's probably why, because I'm such a big supporter.
There you go. That's probably why they don't. You keep buying it all up. They can't even keep it in stock because you keep buying it all up.
I force-fed Fuse Liquid Death when he was here.
Now I have to buy it up too. What's up? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. It's been weeks.
It's been weeks, man. Weeks. And we're ready to party. Our today's guest is, dude, this guy is legitimately a hustler. I look up to this guy in work ethic. This guy beats everybody I know.
Yeah. He's got like a foot in everything too, which is pretty amazing. I mean, he does it all. So without further ado, we'll start our intro here. Hailing in from Virginia, he's a Twitch partner. He's played at every big club and helped shape nightlife in the DC, Northern Virginia area. He's also played all over the United States. He's played along with artists such as the Black Eyed Peas, LMFAO, Sheryl Crow, Robin Thicke, Far East Movement, and many more. He's worked with corporate clients such as HP, Amazon, Jameson, SDK, Under Armour, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. He's had edits on every place you can put edits: Club Killers, Crooklyn Clan, DJ City, and of course, Direct Music Service. He's a true hustler and someone that keeps one foot in every lane: weddings, bars, nightclubs, corporate events. He even does photo booths and all that good stuff. Please help us welcome DJ Phlipz.
What is up, guys? Woo! Happy to be here.
What's up? Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're streaming a lot and you've got a lot of gigs and you got a wife and kids, and it's all hard to balance. So we really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today.
No, happy to be here. Real quick, what is Liquid Death? Is it an energy drink?
No, it is actually water.
It's just water. Oh,
yeah, it's water. So this is the sparkling water version, and they have they're doing Death to Plastic, so that's why it's in a can.
Oh,
and the guy just wanted to compete in basically what's Monster, Red Bull, they all own the sports world, right?
Right.
And so it's partially, Fuse just found out it's partially owned by Live Nation, right?
Yeah, it's like 20% of the company is owned by Live Nation. So you're going to start seeing it at a lot of concert venues and stuff now as well. But the other cool thing is like Drew said, their branding's so amazing. And like, it's disguised in that can. I live in a 20-story condo building, and I was walking out of my building the other day with one, and this old man's getting on the elevator, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's having a good time already," because he thought it was like beer or whatever.
Water in a can. That's unheard of.
Yeah. Well, the idea is Death to Plastic, and they're trying to, push the recycling aspect of it. Anyways, look it up. Their branding is just crazy. They had a thing with Wiz Khalifa where they did one of the little ad campaigns that they ran was bong water, and they put it on their website as just bong water, but it was literally just their regular water can. And it was like, what's different about our Liquid Death bong water? Nothing. It just says the word bong on it.
Yeah, their Super Bowl commercial was amazing too. It was like a kids party, and they're all drinking Liquid Death, acting all crazy, like they're partying and like getting crazy. And then they like at the end, it was like, relax, it's just water.
That is awesome. I wonder if I haven't seen that here. If I see it, I'm definitely getting it.
Yeah,
you'll probably notice it now.
You'll notice it now. It's at 7-Elevens, I think, Whole Foods, and we're doing a full blown commercial for it. But
I'm trying to help you guys get sponsored.
Oh, we need to just cut this little clip and tag him in it a bazillion times.
Seriously. So what exactly is Liquid Death?
it has a water can. This is the sparkling water, and there's 3 different flavors.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Oh,
they
it
just
works.
released the flavors.
Okay.
But so now that our Liquid Death sponsorship portion of the show is over, it was good seeing you. Hold on.
non-sponsorship, non-sponsored sponsorship.
Not,
Non-sponsored sponsorship. That's right.
Hey,
That's
man,
right.
That's honestly me on my streams with like Truly for a while, Jameson Cold Brew for a while, Costco and Nano for a while. Like it's the non-sponsored sponsorship. I get
That
it.
Jameson cold brew is good. I might have me 1 or 10 of those tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, I stopped drinking those because they started giving. I started waking up at like 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, just like shooting up, like wondering where the hell I was. And I was at home, but I was just like, because I was just drinking while I was streaming. But definitely had to make a switch from that.
Were you mixing them, or was it just like
Shots,
straight up
yeah, just
shots
shots.
with that? Okay.
That's not bad. It wasn't bad as shots.
No, the only way I've ever mixed it, I'm not judging by any means, but the only way I've ever mixed it is just with coffee. Right?
Okay.
I'll throw it in a shot of coffee.
Dude,
And
Drew
so-
is the king of taking a shot in the morning. I was out his house in January. You know, I did a couple gigs with him, and we drank it probably too much. And I think every morning we woke up and he was like, "Well, do you want to take a shot?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I have to take a shot."
not gonna lie, I might have taken a shot before this. You know, just to
Dude, sometimes it's the only way to
ease into
shake the
journey.
hangover.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes it's what it is, man. Us DJs, we're not smokers, but you know we drink, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Not all of us.
Yeah, the drinking is the only vice for me. So,
Yeah.
do you have gigs tonight, or you got a stream tonight, or what are you doing?
So tonight I just have my 80s stream that I do every Thursday, and then probably won't be as long as my normal ones, just because I have to get up early tomorrow and do a wedding, like 3.5 hours away. So I could definitely have to leave early for that, and then
Okay,
I have events tomorrow and Saturday. So
cool. I know we caught up a little bit at Mex and we saw you, and it was good to see you and hang for a bit. We were talking about, you know, how things have been, you know, since the world has started to open back up, and you're in the DC area,
Right.
and we were just going to ask kind of to talk on the podcast a little bit about what we were talking about there. How has DJing looked for you since things have kind of opened back up? You were heavy on Twitch, and you're still doing Twitch.
right.
Are you doing in-person gigs, and are you doing as many, or what kind of just everything looks like for you right now?
Right. So I think Virginia and DC were DC kind of stayed closed for a while during COVID. Virginia was open, but luckily I was able to pivot to Twitch and honestly just kind of stayed on, with the family and everything. Just tried to be as safe as possible without, I didn't really have to take those in-person gigs while we were kind of still on a semi-lockdown here. I know a lot of my friends did, and more power to them. And like it's great that they were able to go out, and they are able to go out. I think when we finally like kind of opened last year, I honestly ended up just staying on Twitch. Except for like maybe once or twice a month, I would take an outside gig, like a club. I think private event wise, regardless, I would take a private event, wedding, corporate. And I think you mentioned photo booths. If something like that came up, I would definitely do that. And that takes precedent over streaming. But I think right now in my life, at least, streaming takes precedent over the club and bar gigs that I used to do, 4 to 5 nights a week. In the end, I'd rather, I think for me, I'm happy just being at home. You can kind of see my setup now, like just being able to like, help my wife get the kids ready for bed. And then, just kind of walk downstairs and turn on everything and, be ready to stream and be able to kind of play whatever I want,
Have a couple Jameson cold brews.
Right. Well, I've got switched to, a mix of tequila and seltzers. Just kind of trading off different seltzers, but Shots of tequila here and there, and then
You gotta try. You know what? One of my favorites is now not Back to Liquid Death, but their lime Liquid Death with tequila is
oh,
fantastic. It's like a weird margarita because it's like blended with agave.
I mean,
So
like I said, if they have liquid death somewhere, I will buy it. Plug.
You
Amazon.
Amazon. That's actually so they actually, if you go on their site, they actually all their distribution is like through Amazon for what's the word I'm looking for like normal consumer buying, unless like you're like a bar or um a store or something.
Yeah.
But everything they do is through Amazon. So if
And
that's
then you'll
where
be
Oh
you
wow.
sponsored
Okay.
before us.
yeah.
Okay. So liquid
Yeah.
death.
And then you'll be
Um,
sponsored before us. But it's a great margarita. Just saying.
so the lemon or the lime one.
The lime with
Okay. Hey, I
tequila.
like to switch it up. I mean, like I said, when we first started on Twitch, I was drinking Jameson cold brew and then Truly's, then trying Truly lemonades, and trying Truly iced tea. Then after a while, I got tired of Truly, so I went to Vizzies because everyone was like, "Oh, it has antioxidants." So I was like, "All right, cool. Let's start doing Vizzies." Now I'm into Topo Chicos.
Those are great.
Um,
So
right,
good.
right. And then, but then every now and then I'll do a stream where I'm like, all right, let's try Bud Light seltzers. They came out with a holiday pack. Just try to try to change things up from just the normal, and just gives us something to talk about too while I'm DJing on stream. But yeah, I mean, as far as gigs, like the gigs are there. I know if I wanted to go back to them, like they're there. Like I have enough connections where if I wanted to go back to one of my gigs or fill in nights, I can. But I think for me, in the end, I'd rather stream and maybe sometimes even make less money than I would make in that IRL gig, just because I kind of did that whole like time versus money equation, where I don't know if it's equation, but like where like how much am I spending on gas? How much time am I putting in for this like gig, this bar gig, this club gig, versus how much am I making on Twitch and staying at home? You know what I mean? Like I'm like not traveling anymore, so it's like I'm saving on gas. I'm saving at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of driving on
Yeah.
time and gas, and that adds up. Like you can
Oh,
utilize time. I talk about it with my wife a lot. Like we will happily buy time whenever we can. You know what I mean?
yeah. Time is money.
Right. Even if it's like hopping on the Greenway, or like I don't know if you guys have the Greenway, but like the toll road, and if it saves you 5 minutes, I will happily spend $10, $15 just to know that I can get there 10 minutes faster you know than I would normally.
Time is
Yeah.
money, and one of the more powerful things. I was at the DJ Collective, and they had Jesse Itzler was a speaker of it, and one of his things that he kept preaching was like time, 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 and you can't ever win back time. You can't buy time, any of that, So
Right.
totally believe in everything you're saying. It's priceless.
It really
And
is.
I've been really adding that up in gig wise, right? Oh, how much is this gig worth? Well, yes, the money value, but how much time did I have to put into that? You
Exactly.
know,
And
yeah,
that's kind of something I've been doing too with just my events in general, not just the club gigs, but like the weddings, the corporate stuff that I've been, more recently booking too. Is just like, what is it going to be worth it for me to get out and, go do my thing, whether, setting up, and how long is it going to take? And, all that stuff adds up nowadays. I think a lot of us are we put everything into perspective during COVID. And, especially for me, now that I have three kids, I had two before COVID, but now that I have three, I'm like, man, I can't get back the time that like, I was grinding. Like you guys, we've been following each other. All of us have been following each other for a while now. The hustle that we all put in for how much work we've been putting in, and like, I was definitely one of those guys that would post that schedule with like 30 to 40 gigs a month, and just like sometimes days that had like 3 gigs. Sometimes there was a couple times where I had like 4 gigs in a day, just because the timing just worked out. There was like that morning gig, that midday gig, then the late gig, and then the gig before that. It's like but I think running the rat race, I think I now definitely know that I can do it. if I wanted to, but now at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm happy that I was able to do it. I just don't want to do it anymore. It's like
It's
a lot
tough.
of hard work and time and stress, and I'd rather, kind of just relax at this point. Do the gigs with the people that want to work with me, and then if they don't, it's okay. I'm happy being at home, hanging out with my family, and then once that's all done, if I can get on and stream, I'll stream.
Yeah, it's tough. You feel like sometimes that you owe it, like you're like, well, if I want to make more money or like do this and that, like I might as well go work. So,
Right.
but it's like it's always that tough toss up. And me and Drew, we've talked about it before, on here that since the pandemic, it's kind of gave us that, you know what, it's okay to say no sometimes and take a
Yep.
breather and take a step back. And if anything, that's kind of what I've gained from all of this, is that I was pre-COVID, I was doing 5 and 6 gigs a week.
Yeah.
And now I'm only doing at most like 2 to 3, and I feel way better because of that. And then like stuff pops up, people have asked, and I'm like, no, I'm good. So
Same here, man. Same here.
I actually took something tonight because because I took it off on purpose, and it's ended up working in my favor. So hey, and some extra money, so we're all
Right.
good. Let's hit them with the rapid fire. Shake it up a little bit.
all right, cool. So we have our rapid fire that we're now calling the not so rapid fire because it really just, it doesn't work that way. So we're gonna play a quick a video real quick. That's our segment video, and it's amazing. It's probably the highest quality cut video you'll ever see in your life. So here we go.
It's now time for rapid fire.
All right. So the first thing we like to ask is the last thing that you've listened to on Spotify or iTunes or whatever your musical preferences. And
Oh wow! So I know it was yesterday. It was last night. It was, what is the new Disney movie? Turning Red. Have you guys watched Turning Red?
I have not. No.
So it's a new Disney movie, of like a whatever Pixar movie, and there is a song called "You Know What's Up." There's like a faux like teen boy band in it, and
Okay.
it's the song is actually New Jack Swing based. But
Dope.
so for kids, it's like my kids are all into it. But as a DJ or someone who's listening to music, I didn't even think about it until the homie DJ Trays had posted it on his story too. That like, they have a New Jack Swing song on the soundtrack, and they started listening to it. And then like last night we were listening to some of the songs, and that was definitely it. It was from the Turning Red soundtrack.
Okay. This is always a follow-up question. Do you listen to a lot of music in your personal time? Like if I listen to music, I it's always like something chill. So
Right. On my personal time, I'm usually on Twitch, listening to other DJs. That's why, I definitely went full in on Twitch as far as like whether it's listening to DJs or streaming myself, just because it is live DJing. There's so many dope DJs on at like most times that you're awake that are just doing like live sets. And I think that's the best way to like listen to DJ sometimes. And the interactions there too. But I mean, on top of that, I'll definitely listen to Spotify and podcasts, just depending on, how much time I have, if I'm on a drive, if I am driving. Spotify, I'll be on every now and then, most of the time to just like create playlists and catch up on like, event stuff. But if I am listening to music, it's usually on Twitch.
okay, that's cool. This might be an answered question already, but favorite thing to do when not DJing?
Well, right now, a couple things. I've been playing my son in FIFA lately. Like I stopped playing video games actually, like when he was born. He's like 10 and a half now. But
Yeah.
before he was born, like I was, we had the free time, like there was time to
Yeah.
play video games, and now he's like kind of older now, and he's like really into soccer and FIFA. So I've been playing him and like, kind of carving out that time to like, just hang out with him a lot more. And then, yeah, I mean, I think besides that, if I'm not on Twitch, I'm probably right now, favorite thing might be also to just kind of looking at new stuff to get as far as like DJ equipment for private events, weddings, and just kind of see if there's anything I need to upgrade for the new year.
And we saw you at Mex.
Right.
Did you already buy the Rev 7? Are you looking to buy the Rev 7?
So for me, as of right now, I'm okay on the Rev 7. There's no like I'm not gonna stream with it because I have this here. I don't need to. I
Yeah.
have an S11. I have turntables. I'm not gonna move this to put a controller. And there's nothing wrong. Like I've seen the Rev 7. I played with it at Mex. Right now, I think I'm still happier using the SRT 1000 for weddings.
Yeah.
I don't really care too much for the moving platter, to be honest. Like I'm comfortable playing on CDJs or, the SRT. Like I'm fine either way. I do like the 4 channels on the SRT also, along with the separated mics. So that helps me out because I do utilize like most of the channels too. So I don't think I'm gonna buy it anytime soon. I mean, if I buy it, I don't know if I'd want to even bring it out to a gig, to be honest. Depending on the gig, I guess. It just depends. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty happy. I'm all in still on the SRT 1000. So
I did buy it, and it's probably going to be my home for a while.
yeah,
But I do love that SRT. It's just the weight wise, and it like you said, it has everything. I'm super comfortable on it. I like the extra mics and all that stuff.
right.
So it's great. My follow up question for Mex is: you were actually the first person I reached out to when I wanted to get a photo booth. I was picking your brain about it for a little
Right.
bit, and photo booth wise, you're there. Did anything catch your eye? Did you buy anything? Is anything coming up for that, or is that still like a big part of your product?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think before COVID, it was like blowing up. Like as far as like events, like I get booked for photo booth stuff that people don't even know I DJ. So I think that was kind of cool because I kind of separated it business wise, just because I didn't want clients to think like, oh, I have to book Phlipz to DJ just to get a photo booth. So I didn't want anyone to think that. So I like kind of separated them, but can also use them together when I need to. Like if I'm doing a corporate event or a wedding, they book me for DJing. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Do you need lighting? Do you need a photo booth? Because I also provide those too. Here's the link for those if you're interested. But it's funny because it works kind of the other way too, because I'll get hit up for weddings that want a photo booth because they've been to a wedding where I had something there. And then I'll just ask them, I'm like, hey, do you have a DJ? If so, cool. I also provide DJing service. If not, no worries. And then I've actually like booked DJing services on top of a photo booth, and kind of went at it the other way. It's a good way to like segue to one or the other or separately. I mean, like I'm all about, like I said, the hustle. And if there's a way to make money, I'm in. As far as photo booths there, I mean, I think right now the 360 booth is like the kind of the big thing. However, I think in every market, just like with DJing and any other business, it is going to get watered down. So honestly, if I were to get one, I did get one before COVID, and I ended up selling it to some DJ or an event company here, just because like you know what, I don't know if I have the time for it. If I were to get something, I'd probably get that, but I'd honestly only probably use it for like corporate events versus like, a friend's birthday party at a, something smaller. I'd rather just only offer it to like bigger events where they have the budget that I want that will make it worth it to bring out, if that makes sense.
Oh,
Totally.
definitely, because it seems dangerous.
Right.
Like really dangerous.
And there's a video going out right now of like, I guess they might be at a wedding or something. Some girl's not paying attention and she's on her phone, hit the thing, hits her right in the face.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
didn't knock her out, but it's like something laughed about. But it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I can probably sue for that.
Yeah, that was the first thing that I saw when we first saw it at DJ Expo. Was like, this thing just looks like a hazard. You would have to have almost one or two attendants really to
Right.
to like get everybody set
Watch
up.
the
Or
other
I mean, if you were
side.
doing it properly, that is it is cool. But now that you say it, the watered down, I see that going really fast.
It is. I mean, you could go on Facebook Marketplace right now and either see people selling theirs because they realize, honestly, it's funny how photo booths are very similar to the DJ industry. Is like you'll see the people that think they can make a quick buck off of it and how easy it is, and then they realize when they spend all this money, they're like, oh crap, I actually have to have a business plan. I actually have to market myself and, do more things to make money off this. And then, like you see it all the time with like DJ equipment. They're like, oh man, I just bought like all the most expensive stuff. Man, DJing is a lot harder, than I thought it would be. I'm just going to go ahead and sell this on Marketplace for like a good discount. Someone's going to buy it, whatever. That's kind of how it is with a lot of photo booth stuff in the photo booth industry too. If you keep up with it, like you'll see like people just either selling the equipment for cheap or selling the services for cheap. And that's cool.
Yes.
Every business, I think every business has that stuff going on. So, it is what it is.
But you start seeing it faster because a lot of at least at some of the weddings I was doing, you would see the issues where the photo booth person shows up mid wedding, taping everything,
Right.
no tape or cables everywhere, and just causing a big scene.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, definitely hire a professional. I'm a little bit curious for where you how you rebranded that or how you split the brands. It's like a full different name? How does that work?
Yeah. So obviously I DJ Phlipz. I do weddings under the Shopao events, which is like a play on this Filipino food, like a bao bun called Shopao. It's kind of something that just came up in 2004, I think, when I came home and started doing like high school events, and me and my friend just joked around about coming up with the name, and that's kind of what it was. And
Yeah,
he moved away, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep it. It just ended up sticking, and I'm like, I think about always changing it, and then I'm just like, I don't know if I want to rebrand that just yet. But then the photo
is
booth,
it just you? Wait, I'm sorry. Is
yeah,
just
yeah,
you
it's
for
just
the?
me. It's just me. I
Okay,
mean, I have some friends that work under me, or we'll just
yeah,
trade events sometimes.
right.
I think before COVID, definitely was booking DJs under it. But then
Right.
after COVID happened, I was like, man, I don't want to deal with the stress anymore. I don't really care about making X amount of money or X amount off a
Was
booking
that just
anymore.
private event bookings or
Yeah, like
also?
weddings mostly, and then
Okay.
corporate stuff I
They
still kept under DJ Phlipz. And then the photo booth, when I needed to come up with a name, I didn't want it to be just like a straight up photo booth name, so I call it. It's named Photo Shoot Fresh. So,
like it.
and that was a play on the Jay-Z and Kanye song where he's like photo shoot fresh, looking like, well, about to call the paparazzi on myself. I was like, oh, photo shoot fresh kind of sounds like a dope name.
I like
And
it.
that's what I named it, ran with it, LLC'd it, copyrighted it, and everything. So
I love
cool.
that name, and that's a true DJ coming up with like just some lyrics, like some deep shit, right?
yeah, I
love
mean, I
that.
try to incorporate like music into like music names into like my branding here and there. And if you like when you see it, you're like, ha, you know what I mean? Because if a
No,
DJ were to
Totally.
like scope out my stuff, they'd be like, ha, I know that.
Are you doing a multi-op or is it just you or how?
I
Are
mean,
you?
like multi-op as in like, I have attendants, but they're like, my brother-in-law, my sisters, like I've like had, I had people that work under me, that can do their own stuff, photo booth wise.
yeah,
But like now, like I said, I mean, we're kind of getting back into it. So it's like, I don't even know how many gigs I really want to take. I have no problem just like kind of pushing stuff to the side or giving it to someone else just because I don't want the stress anymore. Like, I think
right.
I was on another podcast a couple weeks ago and talking about just like when you're the point guy and you have like multiple DJs hitting you up, multiple photo booth attendants hitting you up at the same time, and you're at an event already, it's like it takes you off, it kind of takes you off your game for a little bit when you're getting all these texts or, like, oh, hey, everything's good, which is a great text, but you still don't want to see a text from anyone, right? You know what I mean? Like when you see, even if you see your phone, even if a text that just is like, hey, the event's going great, you don't see that. You just see someone texting you. You're just like, what's it going to be? Just one little second feeling.
I had to let go of that because the anxiety level. Actually, that's why I don't wear an Apple Watch, is because of those moments. It was giving
Right,
me more anxiety. The buzz was like, oh, fuck, what is it
right,
now? Like,
right.
exactly. Positive, bad, good. It doesn't matter. I'm like
Right. So
pissed off.
you went through it too, and that's kind of what happened. Is like, yes, I was working a lot, and I had a lot of stuff going on, but then getting those alerts, even good, like I said, good or bad, was just one of those things. Especially when you're at an event, like at a wedding or at a corporate event, you're getting paid to focus on them, and
Yeah.
nothing bad ever happened. Like I was able to run through all my events, like killed it, rocked it, whatever. But it's just that thing, knowing that like that could happen.
It's that 9:30 to 10 o'clock text,
Right.
9:30 to 10:30 text, where they go, it's not working. And if it's 10:30, you're going, why the fuck is it 10:30 and you're texting me right now, right? You were supposed
Right.
to start at
Right.
10. What's happening? And
Right.
it was just, I'm the same as you. Over the pandemic, I rethought everything. I let a lot of that go, and I've never been happier.
Yep.
It was too much.
Yeah. So that's
All
why I
right, so
went with that.
see s- see what do we mean about the not so rapid fire?
Yeah. No, it's all good. No, it's always good. I get what you mean, but it's always cool to hear the stories too behind
Yeah.
fire.
Totally. Uh, I'm gonna go back to asking another question that we have here on the list, and that would just be, who's your favorite remixer or producer? And it doesn't have to be like a Calvin Harris. It can be like somebody from the Crooklyn Clan days
Right.
or anything like that.
Oh man, it's weird because like right now I'm just kind of into tasteful redrums. It's weird. Like there's this one guy. I'm just gonna pick someone random. Like there's one guy. I don't forget what it's like. DJ Mark, Mhark. I think he might be from the Philippines, but like I get a lot of his video edit, or there's DJs that make his video edits on other sites, and it's just
Yeah.
tasteful, quantized redrums of like everything, 70s, 80s, 90s hits, and like I think it's not necessarily like remixing, but I guess it kind of is. You're quantizing and adding drums, but like I think now with like the events I've been doing, can't go too crazy as far as like remixing and stuff. You got to play like somewhat similar stuff. So any DJs that do, and I think you guys have some of my edits too. If you tasteful redrums will always, I think, like work, add that little more oomph to to your sets while still being able to play the original, if that makes sense.
Totally.
100%.
There's tons that I've made that I'm like, God, why did I make that? But for a while there was the trend where it was like doing something to make it sound different, and now it's
Right.
like I just want to make it sound the same but better.
Right, exactly, but not too not too crazy where someone's like, that's a little too much, man. That's
Yeah, totally get that. I'll have to check out and look for some of those, because that I like playing redrums like that too, that just aren't too much. So
right.
another question that we have that we love asking, that we always look forward to seeing the answer to, is, what's a popular song out in the bar or club or wherever, it could be weddings, that always works but it makes you cringe when you play it?
That always works. Oh, man, I don't know. I remember I was listening to the podcast too, and like just thinking like I genuinely love pop music, so it's like hip hop, whatever. I love music, so there's not too many songs that like I play that I just wouldn't want to hear if I was DJing. I guess at weddings it'd probably be when people do ask for like the cha cha slide. I don't know why, but like it still works. Like at weddings, I don't
Yeah.
ever, and it's nothing I would ever play in the club. I would never play like Cupid Shuffle at the club. I think any group dance, to be honest, like I don't mind them. And as long as people are dancing, I don't care. Like that's kind of the key, the goal for
Yeah.
me is like people are having fun, they're dancing. Club wise, man, I'm gonna look at this list. I mean, like even on my like top whatever 20, 30 songs I played, like it's all stuff I want to play. So there's not really too many like songs I genuinely. If I really don't like a song, I won't play it. So there's not like there's a lot
I
of guilty pleasures I like to throw in, but like as songs.
Well, I want to give you a compliment on the guilty pleasures. Is me and my wife, it was early pandemic era, maybe 2 or 3 months in when Twitch was in full force, and we were up one Friday night and just drinking and just that's the new party at that moment.
Right.
And you had this night where it was all guilty pleasures, and it was like Danity Kane and um, Pussycat Dolls, and just it
Yeah.
was like female guilty pleasures. Or I don't remember the exact theme, but
That's just
I
Friday
remember,
nights.
yeah, I just remember going, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" It was just fun, and I'm kind of the same way as you. If it makes other people happy, then it makes me happy. Nothing really makes me so mad where it's bothering me. It's like, oh, this makes other people happy, and this is fun. It's not a
Right.
bad pop song.
Right. And I'll get into it later. I think I know what I'm going to rant about later on. So, but yeah, I mean,
Perfect.
like I love guilty pleasures, and I think that's something that also came about because of Twitch, and being able to play a lot of stuff that you forgot to play, or I think especially from my channel, I think I was, I'm not gonna lie, I think I was one of the first people to like, oh man, he's playing that. Maybe it's okay that I can play that too. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
do you have a favorite guilty pleasure song?
I love playing Spice Girls. Like before when I used to only play like Wannabe. No. I think Wannabe is like the big one that everyone plays, right? But I've
Yeah,
always
yeah.
loved Say You'll Be There more
The
than
jam.
Wannabe.
Yeah.
But now, like on Friday nights, I might bust out like 5 Spice Girls songs, like "Spice Up Your
Wow.
Life," "Who Do You
Girl
Think You
power.
Are." Like, there's just so
Say
many.
what's the other one? There's one other one I can't remember. That's big. It's almost has like a Latin vibe to it.
That's "Spice Up Your Life."
Oh, that's Spice of Your Life. Okay, my
They
bad.
have a song called "Stop" that's really good. And "Who Do You Think You Are" is something I just started running, and it's like 90s house. So it works in that set because like on Fridays, you run like a 2-hour like 90s house set. So they're
Is
definitely
this
a big guilty pleasure.
is this
No,
all off that one album, or is
I think
this
it's
like a second album?
couple albums.
Okay.
And I will say another big guilty pleasure of mine is country music, and that's something I got into more because of Twitch too. Just because
Interesting.
I got into it a little bit before, because like my sisters they like country, and I'm like, I started getting into it, and I was like, man, all they're talking about is like partying and like partying.
Trucks and
Yeah,
partying
and
some
I'm
more.
like, all right, I think let me listen to this a little bit more. Then you start to find like DJ edits, like shout out to Smash Vids. I think DJ JD's on there, and he like
Yeah,
makes
he's
he
on
makes
DMS
edits.
now.
Yeah, he makes
Yeah,
edits and redrums and like hype edits and stuff like that for country music. So it's like if you have those kind of gigs where you can like segue between the normal stuff and country because of these edits, like that's dope. And if you can get into it and enjoy it a little bit more, then I think that's a good way to get into a different genre. That's
Definitely.
definitely a guilty.
I
Do
think
you have a country night at all? Do you have a country night? I'm sorry.
We actually just did one last Wednesday. It was like
Okay.
a chat redemption goal where you had to like my viewers would have to put in points in a month, like X amount of points within a month, and if they did, then they would activate the country night. And actually did it last Wednesday. Did about 4 hours.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think when I zone out on like a genre, I definitely zone out and like do a little bit more research than, figure out what's good. Ask people like, what are the hits, and listen to other people's mixes just to kind of see what works, what sounds good.
I'm a
I've
little curious to maybe if you ever posted that or see that, but I guess keeping the country energy. I think there's so much country that's slower, right?
Right.
There's not a lot of high energy party country.
I know if you, I don't know, like no pressure, but I know if you're subscribed to my channel, the country set is still up. If you,
Oh,
yeah, it
okay.
is still up. If you want to listen, there are obviously is a couple muted parts, but you can actually see like the way I approach my Twitch channel too is every night besides like the slow jam night, I want to play like how I'm playing if I were at a bar or a club, no matter what the
Yeah.
music is, whether it's throwback hip hop, R&B, 80s, 90s, country night. I'm gonna play it like how I'm playing at a club. Like I'm gonna mix it up, 2 verses, 1, 2 verses, whatever. Cut it up, everything. Like I just want to make it as fun as possible because if it's not fun for me, you can tell too. Like if I'm not having fun, so I try to make, especially country night, I try to make it as fun as possible and like make it a fun danceable mix.
Yeah.
I am not really into country, but I always tell my friends I think country and hip hop have a lot more in common than people think.
Right,
Like, you
right.
know, it's like hip hop music's all about like, bragging about the stuff that you have and like partying and like that. And like country's kind of the same way. Like they might be talking about like in a hip hop song, like the wheels on their car, but then in a country song, they're talking about the big tires on their truck, and it's
Right.
really not that far off. Like, so I just think it's kind of funny. Like,
The
if
new
you
pop
actually
country is
listen to,
definitely, yeah, the new pop country is definitely like that. And
yeah.
like they're even mentioning like rappers and stuff in their songs. Like if you
Well,
really
Nelly
there's
listen,
tons
has
of
a
that.
song,
Like,
right?
yeah,
if you
there's like
listen to
tons
like
of
Florida
fusion.
Georgia Line, Luke Bryan, they're definitely mentioning like R&B and hip hop artists, like who they listen to.
That's cool. This is another funny question to ask that usually stumps everybody, but it is, what is the best non-curse word, one word insult?
Oh man! All right, give me a sec. And I remember listening. I thought I had one, and
Sprites was dinkus.
you know what? Let's go with Buster.
All right.
Yes, we haven't had that. I like
You haven't
that.
had
We have not had
Buster? Okay,
Buster.
good.
We have
Like if
not had
someone called
Buster.
you like a Buster or a Mark Buster, I'd be like, man, that's messed up. Like, man, you're such a Buster.
We got a sticker pack coming out or a shirt or something where we're just gonna have all these one word curse words that are not curse words coming out
It's not.
soon.
It's not a curse. I guess it's name calling, but I think it's
I like
It
that.
just makes
I
me
like
think
that.
of Fast and the Furious, where he's like, the Buster
yeah.
picked me up.
You're such a Buster.
Is there a go-to food spot in DC that's like you gotta try? Like, for example, we have the Skyline Chili in Cincinnati. Is there something like that in the DC area? And if not, is there a spot that you think that everybody should eat at?
I mean, there's a lot of great places to eat between like DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Um, the places that I go when I used to go out a lot more were like my friends own a place called Pamplona, which is like Spanish tapas, and but there are some places in DC like Le Diplomat, which is like French cuisine. Um, I kind of tend to like go to those kind of places like restaurants versus like fast food takeout kind of stuff. But there is
Sure.
definitely like you know awesome places to go in the area. But those would be my go-to. Like if someone like I have friends coming in next month for like a Twitch meetup, and I'm like, all right, I won't be able to hang out all the time, so on your downtime, definitely check out these places. So that's where I told them to go.
That's cool. Um, do you have a most memorable night in the DJ booth, or a night that kind of sticks out more than others? Just like a big night, maybe a night with like a celebrity, or just a really good night that you had personally?
A long time ago, I DJed at this place called Park. It's still open actually, and on the night that I was one of the nights that I was there, they had Jamie Foxx come in, and he was he emceed, and it was definitely super hype. Like I said, I think Black Eyed Peas came for one of their after parties. I think this was before they really, really got big. Same with LMFAO. Like when they came to DC, it was more like I think I'm in Miami, bitch, like that era, like before like Sexy and I Know and Party Rock Anthem. So they were there. I had pictures of them, like taking shots with them, and it was cool to like hang out with these artists before they actually blew, like really blew up, I guess.
No,
Um,
that's cool.
yeah, and I think, I think any travel gigs have been a lot of fun. Just knowing that like people are paying you to go somewhere else. like I've been to Italy for a wedding, Dominican Republic, like little things like that. And where, they have their venues, if they're having a wedding somewhere exotic or far, they're going all out in general. So I think anywhere I've been able to travel to has always been a plus. And like on the, the big side of like, goals as a DJ kind of moments.
That's huge. And
No, that's
with
cool.
Twitch,
Yeah.
are you getting any of these calls to come and do more travel events with Twitch? Because you're out there, right? And people are like, man, this is
Right.
I can do an event. I need this guy.
Right. What's kind of funny is like, I don't really promote Twitch as much as before. And I think it's just because like, cause sometimes I kind of want to keep it a little separate just because if I tell like future clients to watch my Twitch channel, then they might see me get a little like crumbly or, like,
Well, no, I guess I mean more of the people that watch you on Twitch bringing you out for an event versus like having people watch you. Do you
right.
understand what I mean?
I think right now, to be honest, I think a lot of my following is like, West Coast based, but they're all like families and stuff like, like regular people, some DJs, but like haven't really hit the like a corporate event kind of thing. But it kind of goes along with what I had said earlier is like I kind of drink on my channel, so it's like I don't want them to see that, to be honest.
Right. It's different.
I think I
No,
might have.
I get it.
I'll be honest. I think I had a wedding client like. I didn't end up booking them because I was like, oh yeah, check me out on Twitch. And like the next day they were like, all right, we're going to go ahead and go in a different direction. And I think that the night before I definitely had like, I'm just having fun. Honestly, we're at home and this is what I love about Twitch. I can be at home. I can have fun. I'm not, responsible, I'm super responsible, but it's like, and I'm home. I'm going to have a couple drinks, it is what it is. So that's kind of why I don't really push it out there is because like, it's kind of like, the safe space for me to like play what I want and, get engaged with people that, want to hear that too. So that's why I'm kind
That
of
makes sense.
right. And, it's like the people that are booking me because they know about me from, the outside stuff versus the Twitch stuff.
I'm fighting with it a little bit because me and Fuse have been taken. I mean, they're perfect for the podcast brand, but we've been taking like photo shoot stuff. And, the last one, you go back on our Instagram and we took it while we were in Mex and we have, tuxedo shirts and we're drinking the party glasses.
Right.
And one of the Flamingo girls just happens to walk up right as our photographer was grabbing it. And it's just, her butt in the shot. But that shot was not planned at all.
Right.
She just happened to walk up and it's like the perfect chaos shot. And I think it fits the brand of this, but it does not fit my wedding or like some of the other
Right. Exactly.
I'm fighting it with it just like you are. It's like, man, yep. I'm having this fun stuff and this is who I am. But at the same time, you gotta have people that trust you and book you. So it's that, I guess they call it juxtaposition, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny because when we were out at Mex, for me, I was there for the photo booth convention. Mex was kind of just there, which was dope. I think the photo booth expo bought Mex, and that's why it was kind of combined. But one of the photo booth seminars I went to, the girl that was talking was like, what do you want to promote? Because that's what you have to show on your Instagram. Like, and I think that's kind of what I go back and forth with. What do I want to promote? Am I a club DJ? Do I do weddings? Do I do both? Like, because then you have to go into that battle of, I mean, at my age now, I mean, I don't really care as much anymore. But maybe if you're younger, you have to go into that realm of like, okay, if this DJ booker is going to look at my Instagram, even though I'm an awesome club DJ, but the only thing I'm posting is weddings, they're gonna be like, no.
Or pictures of your kids.
Right. Or pictures of my family and kids. I'm like, so it's like, what's my balance of like, what do I have to show? So like for me, I guess, kind of my thing is, look, I'm the married DJ with kids that's been running stuff in DC for so long that I do clubs, but I do corporate and weddings. I mean, that's just kind of what it is for me. And like, that's why you can trust me for your gig is like, this is what I do. Like, here's my family, but here's me turning up at the same time.
I think you do a good job of balancing all that. I've always thought that, and that's kind of what we were saying, like when we introduced you that you kind of have one foot in everything, and
Right.
I think that on its own is so difficult to like balance, and just you don't want to look overly cheesy that you're only doing, you know, all these weddings, and you don't want to look
Right.
overly like you're an alcoholic at the club turning up with a bottle of champagne in your, you know, in your hand all the time. So but I think you
Right.
do a really good job, you know, with all of that. So
Right. I think that's one of the things too that when, especially with your like Insta stories, and I'll obviously repost certain things that like when I am like, you know, on Saturday I was at an outdoor gig, and you know, outside gig. Like I was at one of the places I do DJ at like once a month. It's always crazy. It's always turned up, and it's like it's different obviously than what people have been seeing me on Twitch or what they see me on my actual Instagram posts. But because it's like me jumping around, me like, you know, I like you're at any big gig, you know, like your hands in the air type stuff on the mic. And like it's funny because like I think maybe on New Year's I had cursed on the mic, you know, to like put your effing hands up, whatever. And I reposted that because someone had posted it. And I definitely got a lot of people like, oh my God, you cursed? Like, because people didn't know, like, you know, obviously if I'm, you know, turned up or whatever, like, that's what happened is like, they didn't like, we didn't know you like curse, you know, like things like that. So it's like, definitely
Yeah.
things you have to watch out for. And like, but in the end, I think just like with social media and things that happen in the news, people really forget like a week later, more less than
Oh yeah.
less than a week later. It's all like whatever's happening that week, then something comes up. But like, you know, for the most part, I think as long as it's not like on your actual like page, you can kind of do whatever, you know, for the most part.
no, I think you do a good job of balancing all that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
Totally. So we have a couple more not so rapid fire questions left,
it.
and uh, one thing we always like to ask is, what would you tell young DJ Phlipz now knowing what you know? What would you tell your younger self when you first started?
As a DJ or in life in general?
All the
Well,
above.
both. Yeah.
invest in all the big companies ahead of time, like your Apples or even Facebooks or whatever, Google. Invest in all that stuff right in the beginning when like, because I honestly I'm not into stocks, but then like you hear about like everyone or like crypto. I don't even know how much crypto is anymore, but like, you know, all that stuff like kind of blew up, and like, you know, I think for myself I was just so focused on like DJing and stuff that you know, I didn't keep up with like other side stuff. That's definitely stuff I never put my foot into. As far as DJing, I probably just, you know, to be honest, like I would tell my wife and I tell friends, like I'm so happy with what I've done with my career. Like from starting in the clubs in DC in like 2003, 2004, all the way up to now, and still being able to do what I do. Like I don't know if I would change too much, just because it's all been a learning experience to get me to this point. You know, like I think whether it's been like helping other DJs out, learning the ins and outs of going from, you know, records to CDs, back to records because of Serato, back to CDs because of, you know, there's no more turntables
EDM.
at clubs. Like it's all been a learning experience. Now there's controllers, and I've, you know, there's not too much I would change because I've always wanted to just like learn. You know, I think
I always say that, you know, my greatest part, or my greatest part of DJing or life or anything, is the struggle. Once
right,
you there, it's almost a letdown. It's the struggle. It's like the a band's first album. They're putting everything they can, and they always relate back to that being their best time of their life, you know.
right.
And so that's why I think I always like trying new things and just testing myself, and that's where I find my most happiness.
Right, and I think along the same lines, I think you have to. I don't. You have to fail. You know, like I think it sucks, and I think that's a thing a lot of people, you know, are scared of, is obviously failing. But I think that's the best way to learn, even if it's a small fail or even if it's a big fail. You'll learn from that, and that's what once you pick yourself back up from it, then you know whether it is for yourself or to even help someone else out to like, you know, when people ask me for advice, I'm like, this is what I've done. You can follow this way or you can go your own way, but this is what I've done. This is what went wrong with what I did. And now I'm just letting you jump from A to Z without having to go through all the other letters.
Right.
But it's up to you to jump, to do what I just told you to do. If you don't do it, please don't come back to me and tell me it didn't work. Like, I will not
Yeah.
listen to you anymore. Like, that's another thing that goes back to time. Like, it does suck. Like, there's a lot of like DJ friends that like I might not talk to that as much anymore because, in the end, it was people that just didn't listen. It's like at some point you have to look in the mirror and take the blame for yourself and not everyone else. And I think
Totally agree.
I
Couldn't
think
agree
for
more.
me, even if it wasn't my fault, I'm one of the people nowadays that like kind of take the blame, as in, what could I have done to make sure that didn't happen? What could I have controlled? Honestly, I think it stems from being, the private events and weddings, because like, I don't want anyone to be stressed out, especially at a wedding. I don't want the bride, groom, etc., coordinator. Like, if there's something I can help fix, whether it's like with another vendor, I will work my way to find a way to fix that. And if I can't fix it for that event, I'll make sure I have whatever that is for the future events, if that makes sense. Like, I will be
Bringing
more
tape to the
proactive.
photo booth guy.
Right. I'll try to be as more proactive moving forward from that instance. And I think that's I don't know if it's a gift and a curse, but it's definitely been, has helped me out in general, like over time. So,
It's a curse that you care.
right. Yeah. I think that's kind of been my curse, especially with like, trying to help out other DJs and, versus like being someone that's like, I only care about myself,
Yeah.
I could easily have been that person, but DJing has been such a blessing for me, and for me to still be doing it, that's like, if I can help someone out, as long as you're not wasting my time, then I have no problem like helping people out.
I had a little coffee meeting earlier this weekend, and then I had another phone call the other day, and it was just helping people out. And I think, yeah, honestly, as long as you're not wasting my time, I'm happy to help. And I think,
Right.
if anything, I want more people to be DJs because it just brings more. I hate to say validity, but a little bit of validity to that. We're not just party animals that are just,
Right.
fucking around the whole time. It's like, this is a true profession where you can actually make a career. So
I think we've all three of us have done that, and I think that shows the true testament to like, if you're focused and, you put your mind to it, you can definitely make anything a career, especially DJing.
it's the back of the Back to the Future book when what's his name holds it up. He's like, Marty, you told me this as a kid, and he's like, look it, if you just put your mind to it. I always think of that fucking book. Sorry, off topic.
No, it's true. But one of the things I always find a struggle, and my girlfriend and I, we've been dating for a couple years, and she works in the hospital, and I think sometimes it's hard for her because, I love what I do so much that I'm willing to go step out and meet somebody or come to the office and help one of the bars that I work at, do something. And she's like, but you're not getting paid for that. And I'm like, but I need to, because this is what keeps like this relationship going, and this is what keeps this going, and like
Right.
and I actually like doing this stuff, so it's okay, and it's like, I think it's hard for her to understand, and I'm like, one of the things I'll just look at her and say sometimes jokingly is like, I'm sorry, I actually like my job, like, and she gets
Yeah,
all
no,
mad.
you're right. Yeah. But
But
you're right. Like, that's what helps you keep that relationship, and what keeps you working, essentially, whether it's now or in the future. Like, oh, we can hit a David anytime. Like, we know if it's worth it, your time to go. If you didn't want to do it, you wouldn't go, obviously. But I think we are in a profession where it is next man up. Like, if you say no, and then someone else comes in and do that, they'll be like, oh, this guy's more reliable to us. Obviously, to an extent, if you needed to charge someone for something, you would. But I think
yeah,
we're definitely in a next man up industry where, like, if you take a night off, someone else can come in and be like, man, we kind of like this guy. Like we've heard so-and-so for 2 years now. This guy actually just was completely fresh and new. Maybe we should go with him. And that's
It's gonna
because
yeah.
you went on vacation or something like that. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
that's why, obviously with you, it's like, if I can help out with the people that are like supporting me, it's one of those things you kind of have to do.
Totally. And even like we talk about, like we've talked on here, like, about keeping the staff happy. And like, while a lot of places, there might be some high turnover of staff, like, the good staff members and people that have
Right.
worked in the bars long enough and stuff, where it's like, yeah, you want to make them happy because they've got your back too. Like, when you're playing at these places. So if they don't like you, then they're going to be the first ones to tell the manager or whoever that you're working for, even at a venue, if you're doing events, it's the same way, so it's important to keep those good relationships and go a little bit the extra, take the extra step to keep people happy. I think
Right.
sometimes.
And going back to my next man up comment, if there was a next man up, those people will be like, nah, we're cool with Fusamania. We like Fusamania. You're keeping him. You're not bringing anyone else on, or we're keeping Phlipz. Like, yeah, he was cool. He's good to fill in every now and then, but you got to have Phlipz. Like that's our guy. Like he's been with us for so long. He's family.
Yeah,
totally. So I think at this time we are going to do our Serato top 5 if you're cool with it. So we got a little segment video again. It's guaranteed to be the best video you've ever seen in your life. This one's brought to you by Drew Pierce. Here we go.
The Serato top 5.
All right, so you've said earlier that you've listened to the podcast, so you kind of know the deal with this, and we're gonna discuss our Serato top 5 songs. So whenever you're ready, hit us with some.
All right, here we go. So my first one is, because when I got this new computer last year, so it's like not the same as like from my old computer. My first one is 112 and Biggie, The Only You remix.
Love it.
Okay,
that's brand new.
Yes. Obviously a classic. So number 2 is Motown Philly.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
So some of these, if you can give context too, like this is a Twitch song, maybe you like to open with it.
Yeah, it's funny, like a lot of this stuff is coming up, I think, because of Twitch. Because the computer I'm on, so I will give you that context. This is my Twitch computer. So
yeah,
I think Tuesday nights, I think these songs too that I'll probably start mentioning are definitely like the club songs you can play. Like on Tuesday nights, my throwback hip hop and R&B night. But depending on Friday and Saturday, if I do stream, I can still kind of throw them in a throwback club set.
Yep.
Like along with the new stuff and old stuff, along with new stuff. So that's probably why they're popping up in my top 5. So let's see.
We love both. They're both brand new.
Right.
We have not had either one, so this is great.
Right. Like I said, I think it might be because of Twitch. So number 3 is Scenario, Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
Not the remix.
I love it.
But number 4, like I said, this is probably all because of Twitch. And then number 4 is Award Tour, Tribe Called Quest.
Banger.
And so probably because I usually mix them back and forth or one way or the other.
Yeah.
Plus, I always love playing Tribe. I mean, like how that's what I love about Twitch.
Any excuse to play Tribe is
right. And then I think that again, that's why I love Twitch, because like it gives me that outlet every Tuesday night to play Tribe. Because if I'm out at a regular gig, you're not really able to do it.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a specifically themed gig.
I think I'm going to start opening with Tribe everywhere now.
Yeah.
And now you kind of inspired me. I think it's going to be my opening record tonight.
I was going to say, unless it's the first 10 records you play and nobody's there and that you're just playing it so you can hear it. Yeah.
Can you play something new, DJ? Not something from 30 years ago. Okay, so that's 4. It's Only You, Motown Philly, Scenario, Award Tour. Number 5 is the Fresh Prince mashup by Jay Spring.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's the one that's
the one
like
with
the blend
yeah.
with This Is How We Do It.
Totally. Yes.
Probably because of Twitch and because when I do bring this computer out to weddings, that's like a wedding staple edit for me to play. You guys know that one,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
I-
Yep. That was the one I
Shout
used
out
to
Jay
play all
Spring.
the time too.
Yeah. So those are my top 5. I think right. It's funny because like below that is like Mo Money, Mo Problems, Jump, Be Faithful, Hips Don't Lie, Wannabe, and then Taki Taki. I don't know why that's there. I don't know.
That's funny. It's always like Drew and I have like it's always so random. Sometimes you're like, I don't really play that song much, and then you're looking through your stuff and you're like, well, I guess I kind of do play that song a lot.
Right.
Like, but no, those were good top 5, and even the ones you followed up with are ones that would all fall into a set that I would play out too. So this is kind of a question we've been tacking on after the Serato top 5, but do you have a weird or random crate name, like a very just strange name for something?
Oh man. Okay. Let me see what I have here on this one.
Simo's is Der Klurb.
Klurb.
Yeah.
So I have a random for 80s night. I mean, this isn't like funny name. I do have a Kids Incorporated crate of like Kids Incorporated music videos that I downloaded for 80s night. But that's just for like video sets. Let me see what I have. Yeah, I think Moomba Twerk. I mean, but that's a combo of 2 folders of the Twerk and Moombaton stuff, just because I felt like that was all like kind of similar at the time. The Booty Shake crate, I think, is like the dip and like that kind of stuff. But to be honest, it's really like just more pretty straightforward. I have a funky DJ shit crate with like A craze, that kind of stuff. Like
Okay.
I guess that like ghetto funk, hip hop,
Yeah.
remixes kind of stuff. But I think for the most part, that's probably the craziest I'll go. It's really just 80s hip hop, pop, whatever.
Do you have any like tips or tricks or things that you like to do to kind of help organize your crates or anything that you would like to give our listeners like advice for, or any special way you like to do things that you feel like makes things easier on yourself?
So go ahead.
I'll go as far as to say, do you have crate organization different for Twitch versus live settings? And maybe like Sprite said, he basically goes in and recreates a whole crate all categorized for each venue or each night that he does. Do you go that far for that stuff?
No, I mean, I think I still just have kind of like my main folders, right? I never used iTunes, so I think when I got into Serato, I came across, I don't know if you guys remember Connix. He had this script where like you can use like if you have like a music folder with folders and subfolders, whatever, you can use a script. Once you add your songs in, you can double click it and it auto adds the music to your Serato. And then when you load in Serato, it's already there in their folders by date. And then all you have to do is click analyze. So I've always used it and it works now in 2022. So that's all I've used. And as far as like new stuff, I'll definitely like if I download like new music for like the I will say like maybe 2-3 years ago, I kind of stopped super reorganizing, if that makes sense. Now I kind of have like stuff by months for all the newer stuff, I guess. But I do have a main like say like 80s folder, but then with like 4 or 5 folders in that 90s folder, but with like pop, rock, house, separate folders.
Are you doing smart crates?
No. I think at this point I'm kind of in gigs where like I kind of know what I'm gonna go in and play. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to throw myself off for a loop and like book gigs that like I know I'm gonna feel uncomfortable in.
Well, was it Sprite that was saying that he could go all the way back to 2007 in his crates and figure out where he played and what he played there?
Oh wow!
It saves every single crate of every show he's done since 2007.
Wow. 2007? How?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even think I have some of the same songs on my laptop
Wow.
because I'll re-edit something and then delete the old one. So then my playlist is all fucked up from those old ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
2007. That's a long time.
Yeah. That is crazy. Are you still doing stuff at Living Room in DC, or what's
Yeah.
been
So
kind of your role
I'm
there?
still part owner there. So I wasn't just DJing there. I am actually a part owner there. Um, we are still open. I don't like right now. I haven't DJed there in a while just because I don't really want to. It's we're popping on Fridays and Saturdays. Like, don't get me wrong. Just like like I said, I'm 41. Okay, so yes, I can go in and rock it, but do I want to? No. There's other DJs that I think are in the age range that can go in and kill it and probably play better sets than I can for that crowd that we have, if that makes sense. I like there's younger DJs who want to be there more often. Like that was a great time that I was playing there, and I can go in and honestly just, hey, I want to play on this night. Great, I'm in. Cool. But do I want to play till 3 a.m.? No. And get home at 4:30 a.m. No. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about with Twitch is like I'd honestly rather make less money and be in bed by 2. You know what I mean? Versus like
Yeah.
making the club money and then getting home at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and having like a 45-minute drive.
I understand what you're saying, yet there's a lot of me that still loves that challenge and just being I don't know. I still love it a little bit.
Right. No,
So,
and I think on Saturday I did have a gig in Arlington, which is like 15 minutes out of DC, and they still have like the DJs, club vibes, and this area where there's like maybe like 7-8 bars that just all have DJs and it's popping, bar hopping, people are just going back
Yeah.
and forth. And that place is like a club. I did it on New Year's too. And that's the place where I'll book myself because like lights on, music off by 1:45.
right.
So I'm like, that's the one gig I will do because it's big room. I can go play anything I want. And and then I'm done early enough that it's like, I can
Basically, you're saying you could be more choosy, and I agree
right,
with that.
right.
I'm definitely picking the spots that this is where I have the most fun. This is where I want to play. So,
Right.
100%. Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Are you doing the bookings for Living Room or
No, so I passed that on to one of the other part owners that came on, just because he's younger. He came up a little bit under me once he got back from college, and just one of the other DJs. His name's Will Grally. He does the bookings, and if honestly, like if anyone needed to come in was coming into the city, as long as we knew ahead of time, I could definitely plug that person in and just be like, hey, I got someone in. As long as we don't have anyone on that Saturday, or you can just kind of jump on and do a set with someone else. It's one of those things where like I can still get people on. That's not the problem. I can get people on in a lot of different places still. Just like it was kind of like I said, the stress of like managing DJs at the same time of doing everything else just kind of got over
get
it.
it?
Like
We both
right,
get it.
like because then you get that call like, hey, on top of the other stuff you're doing, the DJ didn't show up for this gig, and it's like at 10:05. I'm like, and then you have to go look through all your texts to find
Dude,
out who that is.
I like go
I only-
10 bars.
Fault, and then you realize it's your fault because they said they couldn't do it.
You screenshot it, and you're like, bro,
Yeah, he
circle.
screenshot it too. Right. So
Yeah.
that's kind of one of those things. Like I said, I still have my foot in the door with like a lot of the I know a lot of the owners in the places that I would want to play at, still play at if I was still out. Play.
I only ask because I would love to hear for our listeners to hear that what you would look for in a DJ to book a DJ at a venue.
Honestly, I mean, I think a lot just the same with like a lot of venues nowadays. I think obviously the new stuff still works, or sorry, the old stuff still works regardless. As long as you're mixing through a lot of this stuff, anything popular will always work. I mean, I've always.
Are they bringing you a mixtape? What do you want to see? Type it.
I mean, for me, if I was booking a DJ, I just make sure I get a cosign from one of my friends that has either used him before or knows the person already, like, and knows how they play. Like, I think I talked to enough DJs, or I know most of the DJs, not necessarily all the younger guys in our area, but everyone that kind of came up in the last, like, 15 or so years, I'm pretty cool with, and cool enough to know that I can text them and be like, hey, what do you think of this guy? Or I do enough research on downtime when I'm not, working, just go on Twitch and see who is working, to be honest, like who is posting their schedules. Like, I love when DJs post their schedules, because how else am I going to know? That's another thing is like, how am I going to know? I don't want to waste time texting someone, hey, are you available? Waiting an hour, 2 hours for them to get back to me, when if I could just go to their page and like, oh, look, there's their March schedule. Are they open?
Yeah.
No. Let me go to the next person. Does that make
Right.
sense? So
Oh,
I love
totally,
that DJs will post their schedule. And then if you're busy, great. That's even better. Because then I know, like, okay, these places are booking them. Which places are booking them? Then I know the vibe of those places. And then I can decide, hey, I know you're working pretty well. I need a DJ for this. Or if you hit me up, hey, I see you're working at these places. You're definitely a good fit for this place. Maybe not this place yet, but this place you're definitely a good fit in for now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's great advice.
So, just curious, what is the vibe at Living Room? What kind of
It's a
spot
club,
is
bottle
that?
service.
Okay.
But you could go literally up and down EDM hits from 2010 and up. Your Swedish House Mafias all the way to your A Craze, Losing It type stuff. Anything all in between, and then your hip hop. Your Drakes. As long as they're hits, they have a beat. You can play your club remixes that you would get on any website. Like, as long as it's not too like bloopy and crazy with crazy drops. Like, as long as it's danceable and not like too like I said, too crazy. Like, you can definitely play any of that stuff. And then if you want to go into a 90s rock set, you can still do that. Just obviously don't zone out on it, but
Yeah. So it's just a good party bar club type deal.
right, yeah, with bottle service and everything. But I think everywhere now has bottle service, to be honest.
Bloopy is my new favorite word for remixes, by the way.
Wait,
long
now
as
that
it's
I
not
just said
too-
it, does it? But
Yeah.
does that not make sense? Like, that's a little.
Oh,
too
it makes perfect sense. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's my new favorite word. It's too bloopy. You got any of that
No, that
bloopy
makes-
remix?
Makes perfect sense. We have a mutual friend that we both know, Steve the Greek, and Steve
Yes.
has mentioned you all the time over the years, and I know Steve has done a lot of work for Scratch events, and I know early on I think you were doing a lot of work for Scratch events. Do you still do any events like that?
I actually don't know if I did, unless it was through another company that was working with Scratch events. I don't think I've directly worked with them. I definitely would do in stores for like other companies. I mean, I
Okay.
was part of the hustle of like, hey man, if Ann Taylor's paying me $300 to like set up a couple speakers and play 80s and 90s music, I'm in. You want to hear indie dance at New York and Company? I'm in. Like whatever. You guys
Totally.
know, and like for
Yeah,
$300
totally.
and you're DJing from like 2 to 6 and you have nothing else to do. Like,
Yeah, totally.
I don't like. I never complained about those kind of gigs. Like, those are the gigs. Like, that's when I would like record mixes, and and you kind of can be more creative with what you're doing as music wise. So, but yeah, I mean, I definitely did in stores. I don't know if I never. I don't think I've ever really worked for Scratch events though. I heard the money wasn't really that good.
Maybe I'm
could be wrong.
confused. Maybe I confused something, but
Oh, it's all good. No, but I definitely know Steve.
yeah.
I love Steve Degree. He's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So we have a couple more questions for you. All right, so we're gonna run our new tech video, and any technology you're using, it could be anything that you use at home. It could be like, oh, I use my Fire Stick or new computer or whatever. So we'll run this video. It's another great Drew Pierce production, and then we'll talk a little bit about some new technology.
Okay.
Hey, yo, I need some new technology.
I need to update these. They're already
Was
making me
that
mad.
like Justin Timberlake singing or Drew?
Yeah,
That was amazing.
totally Justin Timberlake. You can't tell?
was me pitched down in Ableton or up. Pitched up.
It's
The
amazing.
funny thing about the videos is we've tried to be overly cheesy, and because we think it's so like they're so bad they're good. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
I
Like,
love bad that it's good. That's a guilty
Yeah,
pleasure. So bad that it's good.
exactly. So, yeah. So if there's any new technology that you're on or want to talk about, I know earlier you were talking about the camera lens because we were saying
Right.
how awesome the camera looked.
Yeah, I mean, I do have it on my Twitch channel in the about section, like what I use, and I think, if you are into streaming, definitely get a good camera. Like, but I use multiple different ones. Is like, technology wise, I use a Sony A6400 with a Sigma 16 millimeter lens. I've added GoPro 9 in front of me, so there's a GoPro 9 right here that you can't see, but it's like more like a close-up view. Obviously with the fisheye lens. I did add a Logitech Brio for a side cam, like a side turntable cam. For me, I'm like, I just want to like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like simple is better, but like for me as like a technology nerd, I like trying different things, and seeing what works, what doesn't work. View wise, this is from, technology wise for my stream. I love the S11. I love the S11. Like it's a great mixer. That's why like, I think we are talking about the Rev 7. I don't know if I'll ever need it for like a specific gig, to be honest. It'd be more something I would buy for, I think, I don't even know, personal use at home. But if I'm at home, I'm gonna play on these. You know what I mean? I don't want to like disconnect all this stuff just to play on the Rev 7. So it's like, where can I play it? But it's definitely dope, dope piece of equipment. And I don't know if I want to bring it to weddings. I don't know, wedding wise. I'm trying to think if I've got anything new technology. But
Question for the S11: are you using any specific feature on it? Because I just bought it, and I probably need to. I put it in one of my wedding booths, my Toad,
Right.
and I think I need to possibly take it out so that I can start learning it. Because I get to the spot and I'm like, okay, I can't do shit on this thing.
Right.
So-
I mean, I think one of the main things I like about it is that the waveforms are on the mixer, so you're not constantly like looking at your computer. I mean, I think we're all guilty of that, but I think being able to look at the waveforms on the mixer, the touch screen for utilizing some of the effects. I'm not a big effects person. I'm happy with like my echo outs and my filters, and that's about it, to be honest. But like,
I'm the same way.
right, just simple and effective as far as the mixer goes. I have mine set up to where like my parameters, these parameter buttons right here. I have no idea what they were for, so I mapped them out actually to my SP6, to cycle between A, B, C, and D. So you can actually change it. So like, I know where my hot cues are, as far as not hotkeys, but like I guess it's an SP8 now. Like I know, like that's what I have those for. I mean, little things like that. But then obviously, like, I think that's the main stuff why I just like it. Plus it's the new mixer, I guess.
It's dope.
Yeah, Drew and I had pre-owned Joni on, and for anybody that doesn't know, if we haven't said this enough, we don't make any money off this podcast.
Right.
In fact, it cost us money, and we have said that it even got more expensive with some of our guests because they tell us about a piece of gear and we go out and buy it. So we had pre-owned Joni on, and he was like, "Dude, you guys are on the S9 still? What are you doing?" And we were like, literally the same day I hit up Kevin from AGI Pro and was like, "Hey, can I get an S11?" So now both Drew and I have S11s because of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I love it. Yeah,
it does sound better to me. I've
It
used
does.
it out. I think it sounds a lot better. I notice a difference when I go to something else. The pads are better. Everything about it's amazing. It's a dope mixer.
Is there anything else technology wise that you're using in your life? Even just personal life, anything that you like?
I did get an Apple Watch. I did get an Apple Watch, and it's funny because like I know Drew had said like, yeah, I don't, it's like I hate getting those notifications. And I was just telling my wife, I love getting the notifications on my watch. I don't have to pull out my phone when like, like the Google Nest or whatever goes off. Like I can just look and see, like, and just tap and see like someone's in the house, or if someone's in the kitchen or the basement or whatever like that. Like, I think that's cool. I know I'm kind of like, I never wear a watch, up until like just buying this. So that was
Yeah.
the kind of thing. I was like, well, why would I wear a watch if my phone has the clock on it and I have my phone with me at all times? We're always on our phones, unfortunately. But so that's why I was like, why would I ever need a watch?
My wife. I was gonna say my wife loves it, but she hates it because it always tells her to stand up. And so the
Yeah, I saw that.
notification, and she's
Yeah.
like driving and stuck in traffic. It's like stand up. And she's like, I hate you. That's the one thing
Right.
that pisses her off.
I think what I do like about it though is now I thought about for like weddings and private events, or when you're at a gig, you don't have to pull out your phone to see if people are texting you. And then, because obviously, that's not that's not really that professional if you're just like, this while you're playing and all that kind of stuff. So now if you could just kind of like look at your wrist and kind of see what message, if it is important, then you obviously can pull out your phone and quickly text. But like, if you're all constantly on your phone like working and while you're at a gig, I think that's obviously not professional. So I think that is definitely a plus. And it's funny, like when I was reading about people using the Apple Watch, they were like, yeah, I still use it, or maybe I don't, but it was great when I was at work because I could see when I was getting messages without having to pull out my phone.
Totally. I've had one. I think I haven't had one since the Series 2, and I've really stopped watching it, or I really stopped wearing it because of what Drew said. I would get to the wherever my gig was that night, and my phone would be blowing up, and it's just all stuff that I really don't care about. And
Right.
my phone still does, but like I can like hide it. I feel like your hands are in front of you and you're just seeing people's names come across and
Right.
all that. But so there's a plus and minus to it. I do like the health stuff. I do like that it tells me, to stand up, because it makes me more conscious of what's going on and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So is there anything else tech wise?
No, I think that's good. I think that's it. I mean, a lot of people will ask, when I'm on my stream, what camera I'm using. So that's, that's the main one.
Is your newer computer an M1?
I have a streaming PC, and I never bought PCs until, streaming and Twitch. Like I had a streaming laptop PC I bought, and I just upgraded to an actual like box PC, like custom made. Shout out to it's GOAT, like GGGOAT, which is actually made by OG Arabian Prince, who was like a founding member of NWA. So he's on Twitch and he makes custom PCs. So he's made a lot of custom PCs for a lot of DJs on Twitch, especially I think like Remark, Scene, Jay Espinoza, to name a few. I think he did DJ Miss Ninjas. So I was like, what?
She talks about that. That's right.
Yeah. So same person that did my PC did theirs.
Okay,
question:
that's pretty cool.
What are you using to switch in between all the stuff? Do you,
Like
you switch?
scenes?
You said you have your GoPro, yeah, and scenes.
I use Touch Portal.
Oh,
So Touch Portal is an app that I think it works. So Touch Portal is an app where I use it on an iPad. So let me see if you guys can see it. So here, I actually switched to a bigger iPad, like because the buttons were like, oh, don't want you to see my password.
I'll edit that out.
It's all the same for this. So if you can kind of see, that is like
okay.
one page of buttons, right? And then that's another page of buttons.
Wow.
Like whether it's video clips or music or camera views or anything, that's what I use, Touch Portal. And it all syncs with the over your network with the app on your computer. That's what I learned. I know people use Stream Deck and stuff like that. But I don't, for me, I just have a lot going on button wise. I think you don't get as many buttons even on the XL on Stream Deck. Plus I had I think with streaming too, when I first started, I was using a lot of gear that I already had at home. You know what I mean? So I didn't have to buy so much stuff. And I had, I had a lot of stuff. Like the iPads and stuff for like photo booths and stuff. I was reusing that stuff. And now I'm kind of just trying now at this point, kind of think I have my stream to where I want it to be. It's just kind of fine tuning the little things. Like what'll make, like on a smaller iPad, these buttons are a lot smaller. So what if I use a bigger iPad? They're a lot bigger now. So it's definitely like ease of use and like making everything like, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on with streaming and a lot of multitasking. So I'm just trying to make everything easier, especially since I'm adding in a lot more stuff.
Of course. And just to kind of go off topic a little bit, is in your streams, you're a video DJ,
Right.
and have you ever done those in weddings and corporate parties as well, or is this? I mean, were you just collecting them and then Twitch came up and you're like, oh, I'm just going to do video, or how did
I
that
think
all?
I've always done video, not necessarily when it was like DVD DJing videos,
Right,
but I think when
right.
Mix Emergency came out, and Serato started doing video, I definitely got into that realm. And, I was doing a ton of video edits. I think it started sending videos out with a bunch of DJs on Blast Vids. I think that's kind of like how I got in with like
Yeah, that's right.
EMS a long time ago too, was when they were about to do videos and it just never came to fruition. Like
EVS.
I was definitely do the audio edits, but then I would make videos for my audio edits. So, I think when I was doing a lot more edits, a lot of DJs were playing them at the time. So I was like, oh, I need to make the videos for them too. It popped off in the clubs for a little while here, and then it kind of died out. But I always just kind of kept up with it just because you never know. It's one of those things like I'm happy not doing them in the clubs, but there's gonna be that corporate event that's like, hey, can you video DJ? Boom. Or we need a video DJ. Well, if that person can't do it, guess what? Phlipz can do it. So it was just one of those things to just always keep up with. And for the most part, I think, with corporate events, you don't need that much. You just need good hits, like make sure your videos aren't like,
No,
like, you never know with some of the videos. Definitely got in trouble a couple of times, but not into the realm like I never got hired again. But but it was one of those things why I kept up with it. And then when Twitch happened, I was like, it's instead of just people watching me the whole time, I was like, man, I need to be able to change it up so like they're not just watching me like with Serato face. Like when I have Serato face on, I can put a music video on at the same time,
I love that about your streams. That's why I wanted to ask, because I have done video for corporate, and I think we're actually very similar in that way. Is some of the bars I was booking were video bars, and so I've always just stayed up on it. I really try and stay up on it, or have like cool filler videos or whatever. I was just wondering if you had any tips for the corporate, because I find it funny that I'll do the corporate and it'll be like a Pitbull video, and I don't even think it's graphic, but they'll just be like, the girl
Right,
is
right.
dancing.
Yeah, and
Like, oh,
I'll tell you too. Like the time I did mess up, I even went to go grab a drink from the bar. I played the Blurred Lines video with
oh my god.
the bad one, right? You know which one.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And it was on two huge
Oh.
screens. I played it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get a drink. I came back. I'm like, yeah, we're jamming. And then all of a sudden, someone comes up and is like, there's naked girls on the screens right now. And I'm like, my heart just dropped. Like, oh my God, I forgot I played the wrong version. And even then,
Oh,
even the regular version, they're in
this is not
bikinis. And
good.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I just should not even have played that version.
Right,
And
right.
luckily, like I rocked the party. They're just like, don't worry. The guy that booked me was like, don't worry. Like, just when we book you again, to make sure it doesn't happen again. So like
Yeah.
in another video too that he was like, this is a little questionable, was Nelly hot in here? Just because it's
Right.
like, it's chicks gyrating and body bikini tops and stuff like that in a club. And I was like, man, I didn't even think about that. So like for songs like that where I was like, oh man, that's I always want to play that song. Like I found a live version that he did on Ellen and I just recut the audio to the Ellen
Smart.
version just because I'm like, all right, it's just, this is a corporate setting. So now if I do need to play it or want to play it, this is the version I'm playing.
Really, even bars too, they don't really want to see that, It's a
Yeah, I think
public
it just
establishment.
depends. I think the club scenes are okay, but it's more like, like the boobs and ass, like, probably just need to stay away from like a lot of it if it's too much. Like, probably can't get away with too many like Cardi B, Megan the Stallion videos, like in a corporate
Yeah.
setting, even though they're asking for it.
I found a way to in Mix Emergency, I just have it just does the blur, so
Oh, okay.
it looks like stuff's moving. I mean, a lot of times I'll just download the audio and I have tons and tons of just video fillers, so it's
Right,
just
right,
people
right,
dance. I'll
right.
just tag those to it, but I do have that auto blur. It's like the sensor
You
where
have a
it's
button
just
that you press, yeah.
yeah, it looks pixelated, and that's cool. Just wondering if you had any cool tricks for that. So that's good to know.
Find live videos and recut the audio. That's the best one.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to me. I actually sent Drew a text that I was playing maybe a little bit of an obscene video on my Friday night gig, which is a bar, and it was late. It was like past midnight. And it's just funny because like to me the videos are like whatever, like in terms of like in the songs they're already saying all this shit anyway. That's like
Right.
happening. And like that's okay. But like if you visually see something, it's like that's not okay though. And it's just kind of like funny to me, I'm like they're saying like it's just, I don't know.
It's
It's just
the visual aspect of it. That's all
yeah,
it is. Because you
yeah.
really don't know who's watching too. Like I heard bars and clubs can get in trouble too if you're like showing nudity and stuff on your TVs and
Right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. But all right, we have a couple more questions. We could do a 60-second rant. We could do travel tips if you got one you'd rather do first.
Let's do travel tips.
All right, cool. We're getting with another a great video right here to play. So here we go.
I wanna fly away.
Travel hacks.
All right, travel tips. So I actually just traveled to Orlando on Monday, and one thing I do have is like I bought this little like bag, like a little bag that I can have like all my adapters because I switched from a 2012 MacBook Pro finally to some new one, 2021s. And when you do that, you realize you're like, oh crap, like I don't have power, I don't have. You get to buy like all new stuff like for these newer computers. I have this little bag that has literally every kind of adapter that I would need depending on what gig I'm going to. I have USB cables for all types of. I bring different USB cables depending on what venue I might be at. If they have gear, if they don't have gear, or like if they have. I think the venue had like an XDJ XZ. I don't even know what it is because I've never played on it before, but you guys might know. It has the USBs on the front, on the top. Big controller, but like nothing I've ever played on. I think that's something great to have is USBs. Travel tips, I would buy a hotspot unless you already have it for your phone, but I have a dedicated hotspot that I take with me, probably also because I do photo booths and like sometimes, the computers don't have like their own hotspot or, they don't have their own Wi-Fi or whatever. Travel tips, bring a dedicated hotspot so that way you don't have to pay for
That's that is the first time I've heard someone say that, and that's such a great tip. What I've done in the past is I have an iPad Mini, and I use that. I pay for cellular on that. And I
Yeah,
use that as my
that works
hotspot.
just the same. A dedicated hotspot, especially when you're traveling. So if you're at an airport and you don't want to be on their, their Wi-Fi, or if you're at a hotel and their Wi-Fi is like, oh, it's $25 or whatever for the full day, you have your own hotspot. Yes, you can use your phone, but then you're eating into that data. It just
Well,
I just want to have
actually,
different options.
why I don't like using the phone is because I feel like it kills the battery too.
Right,
So
exactly.
then you have to use
100%.
your phone, and your phone's fucked. But if you have like an iPad or whatever, then it could just be in your bag, and it doesn't matter if it dies. It's just, or you can plug it in and just leave it plugged in for the weekend.
Right. I mean, I think travel tips for DJs. Yeah, I think that's some of the main stuff. Adapters. Like, know where you're going. See if there's any options to, like, if you do forget something, if there's any place you can buy things, like, whether it's your closest Apple store or electronics store. I don't know if you guys have Micro Center where you guys are. Places like those. Make sure you know where you're staying at, and if you do forget something, you allot yourself enough time to find your way to that place. Or be able to Instacart it to wherever you're at if you do forget something.
Instacart it. That's also something I've never heard someone throw, but that's a good little
That's a
tip.
good
I like
idea
that.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
I
great
mean,
idea.
you might have to you might have to pay a lot more than it is, but
Priceless.
if there's a Best Buy there, you can Instacart it. If there's a Walmart, like anything like that, Instacart it. Like I will, like you said, you can pay for time. Like if you don't have to go anywhere and it says it'll be at your place by 4 o'clock, someone will
That
go
is
and get it for you if they can make money.
honestly mental note on that one. That's a huge one for me. That's big.
Yeah, I mean, I was just getting Instacart for like Costco and stuff because I would watch my son, and like I don't want to bring him out because he's still 1.5. I don't want to bring him to Costco, and then there was an option for Best Buy, and I started looking at Best Buy. I was like, oh crap, I can actually get adapters that I need from the closest Best Buy if I don't, if I can't leave the house.
That makes sense.
Genius.
There you go.
Those are some good tips there. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and get into our 60-second rant video. So we'll put 60 seconds up on the clock, and we'll play another great Drew Pierce edited video for our segment.
Shout, shout, let it all out.
All right. All right, so we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. We're going to give you 60 seconds to rant about anything that you want. So we can start anytime you're ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I think DJs just generally need to be more happy now that we are finally working again. I think it's me being on Twitter too much and just seeing so many DJ hot takes that just aren't relevant to everyone. I think you should be happy playing whatever it is you want to play. Play Poison. Play This Is How We Do It. Play whatever you want to play as long as it makes you happy. Don't worry about what any other DJ thinks and do whatever you want. We just went through 1.5 to 2 years of us not working. A lot of people jumped on to different careers during this time. And now we're back. And there's DJs back to complaining about other DJs. Like, I know this sounds like me complaining about other DJs. It is. It's because I'm tired of the negativity of having the best job in the world. We have the best job in the world. That's like,
There it is.
That was so good.
It's true though. I mean,
it is.
it's so true. I find myself every once in a while complaining, but it's mostly to Drew.
No, it's
and
okay. I
private.
mean, it's all innocent complaint. I obviously get the whole you should work. We should all get paid X amount of money. But how many people do you know, even on the lower end, that are getting $50 an hour for a $200 gig? Right? Like for us, maybe we won't do those. But someone is getting $50 an hour to show up. Maybe the DJ equipment's already there and play music. $50 an hour. Depending on the venue, you might even get drinks. You might even get food on top of that $200 you're getting paid. And I'm just saying I'm just saying that on the low end, obviously. $50 an hour. Not many people get $50 an hour. And there's people saving lives, like nurses and stuff, that probably don't even get that much money. And there's DJs out here complaining. Like I think that like any other career, there's levels to every career. There's going to be your $200 DJs. There's going to be your $500, your $1,000 DJs, your travel DJs that are making $2,000, your wedding DJs that are making $2,000 to $5,000. There's different levels. We can all work together, be happy. Let's just be happy we're making money again and not, complaining. Like, a lot of DJs were kind of sad and, especially me too. Like like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, are we going to be able to come back? Are we going to be able to come back in full? Like that was definitely like a dark time for a lot of us. And now we're back and there's still a lot of people complaining now that we're back. It's like, just be happy. Like you're making money and it's some kind of money when there's people that aren't working. And I mean, that's just kind of one of my things is like, it's the best job. And you get to play other people's music. You literally just come in and play other people's music on a laptop that say you spent $1,000 on that has probably made you thousands of dollars more than what it's worth. You know what I mean?
It's a rare job where you can actually recoup money that you invest in, right? How many people do you just buy stuff and you watch it completely just devalue as you like the second you purchase it, it's losing money. Where we can actually remake the money for it, you know?
Right. And if you invest in the right stuff, you can even sell that stuff eventually later at like not that much of a loss. Like if you get an S11, guess what? You can probably sell it for how much it's worth. You know what I mean?
Totally.
If you realize you don't need it. But that's kind of like that's kind of like my rant is like, why do we complain? Like we're finally back. We're all working, and like trust me, I get both sides, but it's like you're literally going in and playing music. You know how awesome that is? Like there's people that are like, nothing against anyone that works in cubicles or, the office jobs, the 9 to 5s, do whatever makes you happy. I think that's my thing is like, if it makes you happy, do it. If you're getting paid to DJ, you're obviously happy, I hope. If you're not happy, do something else. But why complain? That's my thing.
The big one that I saw that was like one of the big ones on Twitter, and it was, I don't know, it's maybe like 4 or 5 months ago at this point, maybe even longer. It was Katronada, I think, was like, said something like, if you're playing like Fat Joe, what's love, or
yeah.
something, like you're whack. And I'm like, bro, how are you even saying this? Like you're.
Like, do you even play What's Love? Like, what gigs is he even playing that at?
Well, that's what like. I'm like, there's. What people have to understand
I
is
love playing that song.
Same. I mean, there's so many different levels to like what you already said to DJing. Like maybe if you're him, yeah, you don't have to do that. But
right.
If you're in a bar, you're sometimes doing what it takes to get the job done, and sometimes it might be playing What's Love.
Right.
So
or this is how we do it. Or
yeah,
I have a I have a
we
long bar shift tonight, and will be playing all of those that you just mentioned.
I love it. And, even my top 5. I mean, it's like, or top 10. It's like hits. Like
we ranted recently on here about DJs playing This Is How We Do It into Usher, yeah, and to this. And what we meant by that, to kind of clear it up, is if you're showcasing a DJ set, you don't always have to play those songs. You're showcasing a DJ set. That's a different time to not play those songs. But if you're just being the guy playing the music in the bar that night, which is most of the time what I just am, I'm just some random guy to all these people that come in. They don't give a shit about me. I am playing This Is How We Do It and Usher, yeah. And What's Love.
I love that comparison. Like if people are coming to see me do a set, I'm not playing that stuff, obviously. But if it's like the normal bar, etc., club gig, and I know it's going to work to at least get people going, I'm going to play it. But that definitely, I like that comparison. I haven't heard that side of it. Like if you're like one of the bigger name DJs, obviously, if they play, yeah, I'm like, what? Why is he playing? Yeah. But from a club standpoint of just like the people don't really know you, they're just there to be there and have fun and party. Then yeah, why not play it?
Yeah. 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, Usher, transition into 3 times.
That's Drew's favorite.
That's my favorite. My jam.
It's like me playing that. I love playing the DJ Nova low transition from Get Low into Flow Rida Low. I think it was like number 1 on Crooklyn Clan.
Yeah, get low.
Yeah, but that totally. One to me makes sense. Going from a hip hop song up to a pop song doesn't make sense. But that one makes sense. I still play that one. I love that one. That Nova edit's amazing.
Yeah.
It's crazy the lifespan on some of those older day Crooklyn Clan edits. Like it would be crazy to see like a chart like today of like what would the top, what still would be like the top downloaded songs on there of all time. That would have to be one of them.
I think a lot of those would still be up there just because of how much, the longevity of the songs. And I mean, people are still playing them now,
One of the other ones I remember was Baby Got Backed Up. I forget who, or Baby Got Backed That Thing Up or something like, and it was
names,
a little in the middle, but she got much back.
I have that.
Did it drop the bass line from Back That Ass Up? Boom.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh, you're in the club.
Yeah. What's crazy is
I think DeVille did that.
okay. What's crazy is I feel like I don't, and I'm in two younger places. The bar I do is younger, and the club I definitely do is younger. But Back That Ass Up pretty much doesn't hit for me anymore. Like it's pretty much a wrap for me.
Oh wow, it's at that age.
Yep.
Okay, so since since you brought up DeVille too, so like producer wise, like going back to that original question back in, so I got a question for you guys. Did all the websites like have a draft for like, all right, you guys get this producer, like DMS gets Scooter and Diggs, Club Killers gets DeVille and whoever. HMC, all right, we're drafting Beatbreaker and like Nova. I'm like, everyone spread out from Crooklyn Clan. Like the guys that like obviously grew up with Crooklyn Clan. I'm like, man, I gotta like join all these sites.
I don't know that we can say too much, but I think it was just the way it played out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was the way it played out. Scooter talked a little bit about it on his episode of the Road podcast that just came out. I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And, I think a lot of it was just right time, the right place, right time for a lot of guys.
Right.
The Crooklyn Clan stuff was kind of happening, and Scooter. I know Scooter, what he said from that episode, he just wasn't happy, and he was kind of Kevin and him were having in talks, and it was just kind of right place, right time, and he switched over. I don't know, I can't remember if Diggs had already been here or not, but
Diggs had already been here, yeah.
And with DMS and kind of what we do anymore is we don't really even approach anybody from other pools. If they come to us, it's one, I think that's completely different. But a lot of the guys that we've picked up even of recently is just guys that were like, you know what, we really like what this guy's been sending to us, so let's reach out to him and see if we can grab him. And that's kind of really been the last few. We have a big crew now right now, probably bigger than it's ever been. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, I think the roster is definitely really good right now. Well, it's always been great, but I think it's like the biggest it's ever been, and everyone's putting out just tons and tons and tons of content.
Yeah, I mean, it's Simo, myself. DJ Grant is a new pickup, which we're going to announce.
It's not Simo. It's Simo.
Simo.
I feel like I'm an indie dance DJ because of Simo.
Because of Simo, yeah.
I could do all these indie dance gigs and act like I like know my music just because it was like Simo.
Totally.
It's Scooter, Kevin and Warren, Ragoza, Drew, Jason Janai, Saber, Donk, Jason B, Pete Down, Audio One, Rod, Phrase, Master Monk, and Diggs. I mean, we got a big crew right now.
That is a big crew.
Oh, VDJJG.
Yeah, and
he's on there.
He's doing the audio edits too?
Yeah, we got him for country stuff.
Oh, damn. Okay.
It's
awesome.
It's good. It's a lot too. It's a lot to keep up with.
I was gonna say there's a lot of people to keep up with.
Yeah.
There's so much more music than ever before.
Right.
Back in the one of the early mashups I was gonna say was the Crooklyn Clan was Billie Jean versus Sexy Back.
Yep.
Right. I remember that was just being good.
I don't know.
Sis, I think Sis did it, but yeah, I remember going out and it was just like on constant repeat.
Right.
And at that stage, there would be 18 billion Sexy Back, right? And it's just now there's just so much music constantly coming out. It's hard to even have a hit, really.
Right.
That's something that's that big. I don't know that there's anything that's that big anymore.
Right. And I think that's why like the old stuff still gets played a lot more, especially because like even the editors will just make edits of the old stuff, just make it more contemporary, obviously, to whatever's trending music wise.
I feel like that's kind of what I even find myself doing, like is trying to just make a newer, fresh way of playing stuff that kind of already works. It's hard right now, like we've talked about it on the show before, and he got a little heat for saying it, which is kind of crazy to me. But Jay Spring posted something like on Twitter, like playing Pusha P is a way for us DJs.
You gotta be careful what you say on Twitter.
Yeah, he posted that. He was like, it's us a way for us DJs to show, we're relevant with what's going on, but we know it doesn't work. And that was like all he basically said, and he got a lot of heat for that. But it's like I kind of feel it's true in a lot of ways. Some of these newer hip hop songs that come out, they're here today, gone tomorrow, and
Right. It's hot
it's
for a
tough.
week. It's hot for
Yeah.
a week. Depending on where you're at, like it could only be hot for a week, and then it's next song up.
Totally. So it's important to have, these classic staple songs in your set be refreshed and new ways to play it, or different drop. Maybe you're playing an edit, and
Right.
to update the drop on it so it sounds more current.
I already forgot what was the new name for the drop. The blip blips, the blip blip
Bloopy.
drop, the bloopy
Bloopy.
remix.
Songs with bloopy drops. Remixes.
Yeah. So it's hard. Drew and I talk. We talk more now than ever, obviously, because the podcast. But it's like even just our sets, we're constantly like, what did you play this weekend? What did you play this weekend?
Right.
And showing each other, and it's sometimes it's hard, and you probably get this too, where it's like you go out and you do a set, and you're like, I feel like it went well, but I also feel like I could have done more.
Right.
And I probably all three of us here are probably more perfectionists than a lot of others when it comes to that kind of stuff. But, I care that much and I know Drew does, and I know you care that much to where it's like,
Right.
I want to every night needs to be the best night,
Right.
and that's important to me, to go home feeling like that I did the best that I could for the night too. So.
No, makes complete sense. And I mean, I think that's one of the reasons too why I cut back on like some of the outside gigs or the outdoor, the club gigs and bar gigs. Cause like, I don't know if I'm honestly want to keep up with some of the newer stuff to be like the person that's at the club playing it. I know there's other DJs that are keeping up with it, and I'm okay with that. Like, I think that's one of the big things too, is like, I am okay with it. These other DJs that are keeping up with the music, that are going out a lot more and, try staying relevant. Like I'm happy that like I said, I'm happy with what I've done with my career, and being able to pivot to Twitch and everything else I'm doing is what I want to do. Like, I don't want to ever go to the gig and be like, damn, I'm unprepared. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
if I am booking myself at a gig at a club or whatever, I know it's going to be somewhere where I can play the music I'm comfortable with. And then I'm going to be happy playing it.
Right. Yep.
Totally. I think
these first couple months I've of the year is always dead time for me before I go back to weddings and corporates, and I'm just slammed out of my mind. I use these as those putting myself in uncomfortable positions. So I have like a gig tonight that's a little bit heavier on reggaeton and house, and there's some hip hop. The hip hop isn't as big as the house and the reggaeton, which I feel like I gotta really study the reggaeton, and then I'll put myself in a hip hop spot where it's like I gotta be playing the Pusha P and all this stuff, and you just find creative ways to play it, and I like the challenge. That's where I get my excitement now. It's just the challenge of how the fuck to pull this off in a creative way.
And sometimes the creative way is just playing it real quick with something else and getting out of it, and
seeing
on to the next.
If it works, and if it doesn't, make sure you have something else ready to go.
Totally. I think this is going to wrap it up for today. We would just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here and, record with us. If you want to drop all your social media links and let people know where they can find you.
Yes. So it's at DJ Phlipz. It's not Phillips. It's not Phlipz. It's DJ Phlipz. My real name's Chris too. It's not Phil. I get that a lot. So it's at DJ Phlipz. DJ P as in Paul, HLI, P as in Paul, Z as in zebra. There's no extra I in there. I gotta tell people that. It's even on my Twitch stream or, on my about, like pronounce Phlipz, Flips, just to make it easier for everyone, just spelled differently. But yeah, you can follow me on there. Follow me on Twitch if you want to see me. Depending on my gig schedule, I try to stream at least 4 or 5 times a week. But I think this week I'm only streaming twice just because I had events this weekend. So try to get on. It's all about consistency. So if any DJs are listening and you're on Twitch, give me a follow.
Is there certain nights that Tuesdays you said is your R&B night?
Yeah, so if I have a full week, Mondays are usually slow jams, R&B, really really chill. Like, but it'll be like even 80s pop ballads kind of stuff. Like just really like that's the market. I have that they love that kind of stuff. Tuesdays are 90s and early 2000s hip hop and R&B, like but stuff like you would hear at the club if you were out. Thursday nights are 80s night. It's literally 80s all night. Usually do about 5 hours of 80s music, all types of 80s. If I'm on Fridays, that's the 90s and 2000s pop, house, and guilty pleasures night. So you can hear anything from the Spice Girls to Michelle Branch to Wilson Phillips to Black Box to Sophie Ellis Baxter to ATB, and if I'm depending on how hammered I am, we'll probably go into like 90s emo rock, and just like end the night on that kind of vibe.
Hey, actually, question for your '80s night: are you playing Sex Dwarf there yet?
I have no idea what Sex Dwarf is. You
It's
might
it's
have to send me that link. If it's on Extendamix, I will look for it.
it is on Extendamix. It's a so it's soft cell,
Oh, okay,
okay. And it's kind of like that goth new wave,
right.
Transex, OMD. Anyways, I did a wedding recently, and that was the main request from the groom. Was like,
Wow.
you gotta play Sex Dwarf, and I played it, and they were so hyped. And I mean, I gotta be honest, it made me happy because it was like I've
Those
never
are the
played
best
this at a
requests
wedding.
because when you don't know what the song is, you play it and then they lose their minds.
Check out Sex Dwarf. That's something
Sex
to add
Dwarf.
to your '80s set.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Play
definitely
it
gonna have
tonight.
to
They'll
tune
probably
in.
go crazy.
I love the '80s stuff, so I'm definitely gonna have to tune in and catch
Yeah,
some of those
it is
soon.
fun. Like I said, I mix it like if you're at a party, I'm like mowing through songs and watch the videos or whatever, and then if I am on a Saturday, which probably won't be for like a long time, just because of like events and stuff, I try to do like a proper club night of like hip hop, EDM, like what I would play if I was actually out at the club.
I
So
love it, dude.
try to do a nice assortment of music, give them something to look forward to every week versus like I don't know what he's gonna play this night. You know what I mean?
Totally.
You always crush it on there. So we both co-sign that. Phlipz' channel is the shit, dude.
Yeah.
Your Twitch
Appreciate you
channel is
guys.
awesome, man. You're awesome, dude. We're so stoked you came on. Like, thank you for being here.
Yeah, appreciate it. And that's going to wrap up for today. Once again, if you guys are listening on iTunes, make sure you rate and review and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button up at the top and leave us a comment, like the video, all that good stuff. We're going to be out for today. So see you guys later.
Peace.